Welcome to the Black Humanities Podcast, the podcast that explores the disciplines in humanities and the Black humans in humanities. Today, we'll be exploring liberal arts as a discipline, and I'm joined with.
Esther.
So, Esther, what field of humanities did you study in?
So I studied liberal arts, and that encompasses quite a few different disciplines. A lot of the modules I kind of did during my 3 year degree involved a lot of politics, quite a lot of philosophy as kind of my course. And I also had to do a modern foreign language. So I chose to do French, just different modules here and there. So I did like modules in music, I did modules in English, I did modules in sociology and history. That was it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So that's like a lot, like a broad range of like the humanities. So how did you sort of like land into doing that degree? Like, are there specific GCSEs you took or training opportunities that like sort of led you to your degree?
For me personally, when I went to music school, there was loads of like pathways that were always kind of pushed towards us that we could go to music universities or music focused institutions, and university was always an option. So I quite enjoyed English A level, and I wanted to do something that would have like access to different career paths. I was looking one day, I wanted to do something to do with politics and philosophy and English. And I
Mm,
really many like degrees like that. So I was like, oh, okay. I was looking at universities and I saw PPE and I was like, that's politics, philosophy, and economics. And I don't enjoy maths. So I was just like, I
mental.
felt like the degrees just never really were a bit of me. And then I was going to just study pure philosophy because I felt like that was the one that encompassed me the most. And I accidentally stumbled on the page that was liberal arts. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've never heard of this before. I don't know what this is, but it sounds exactly what I'm looking for, where I can do a load of different things that I'm interested in and kind of build my knowledge in a group of different areas in humanities. For me, I was just kind of sold on that prospect and that idea of being able to do a few different pathways with my degree.
How did you find your degree? Were there any challenges you faced? And what made you like pick the uni specifically that you studied at?
Yeah, that's a good question. When I was doing it in 2018, there wasn't that many unis in the UK because it is a very much American degree. It's very kind of popular.
Mm,
But in the UK, it was still quite new. Like it was still something that a lot of unis were starting to do. So I think I only had an option of like maybe less than 10 unis across the whole UK. So I kind of narrowed it down. I really wanted to not be in London. So that
yeah,
kind of
of
narrowed down
course.
my options to like five. Yeah, how I kind of stumbled upon my university. I went to Royal Holloway at first, and I just fell in love with the building. I fell in love with the way that they kind of taught the subject. I didn't go to visit as many universities, which I probably in hindsight should have if I'm going to spend that much money on a degree.
Yeah.
So Royal Holloway was like one of three unis I went to, and I just thought, yeah, this fits the bill. They do my degree, and I really like the area, so let's just go. And that's kind of really how I went about choosing the institution to where I wanted to study it, mainly because there was just not that many options. In terms of grades and stuff, though, I got really good grades. Like I passed all my GCSEs. I got like 12 A's to C. And then in my music school, I studied BTech music plus an A level. So that kind of equivalated to kind of four A levels, and I did really well. I had really good grades where I could kind of apply to pretty much all the unis I wanted to. That was it, really. There was no real like, you need to have studied this, but I think they just wanted to see kind of somebody who had done well academically throughout their kind of school life, or at least their A levels.
Amazing. So, what career are you in right now? And how do you feel like your chosen discipline helped you in achieving your career? And if you feel like it hasn't, then you can also answer that.
Yes, okay. The question of the century. Well, first of all, I would say I classify myself as a freelancer. I do loads of different things as a creative, as a musician. Music has always been my first love, so that's something I'm actively pursuing right now. But as well, you got to pay your bills. So I do a lot of different things, freelancing that I've kind of been able to use my skills and some of my experience in. Like, I do a lot of youth work and I'm connected with a lot of places and people in Lambeth and the council, and doing a lot of community events. I also do freelance kind of events and hospitality management, content creation as well. So those are the kind of things I dibble and dabble as a freelancer in many different parts, and I'm just utilizing as many of my experiences as I can.
Was there any other subject you wish you would have studied instead of liberal arts?
I wish I studied just English straight, or philosophy, English and philosophy, because I really, really enjoyed philosophy, and I didn't realize that I was going to enjoy it as much as I did. And I thought that, oh no, if I do the whole degree, I won't enjoy it. But I really enjoyed the modules that I did. It really challenged me to think and think outside of the box. Either that or maybe like a business module, like a business degree. But yeah, I think English would have been really good for just getting into certain spaces like copywriting or journalism,
Mm,
which I really enjoy. I'm very grateful that my experiences inside uni while studying my degree outside of uni have allowed me to kind of be able to enter the job market to varying degrees of success. In hindsight, that's probably what I would have done.
I think that is definitely true. I think especially like you being a musician and a freelancer, like uni like really helped you to sort of like network with those people, especially like industries where it's like all about who you know. Like you going to uni and of course like doing a going to a music school first, I feel like opened a lot of doors. Are there any like other specific training opportunities that you feel have like led you to where you are?
That's really good. I think I have a sister in university right now, and one of the things I tell her, I bang on about, is just join a society, be a part of the university, like just do something, be involved, because you never know where that will take you. And when I first left uni and I was applying for all these like marketing roles and copywriting and all of these kind of like creative entry level roles, the thing that was really intriguing to them, they're like, oh yeah, you went to university, that's really nice, but this is actually what really made us look at your CV, was what you did, because I was part of a society for creative people of color. I led that during COVID to quite a success. They asked me that even like when I apply for roles and stuff, they always ask me about that. So I think university is much more than your degree. You have to make
Mm,
you're like, unfortunately, because more people are getting degrees now, it's not something that makes you stand out as much as it maybe would have 10, 15 years ago. You have to make sure that you have a lot of things under your belt. They want to see someone who's proactive. What are you a part of outside of your studies? Are you somebody who can manage workload and task load?
mm,
What are your interests, what are your hobbies? So I would really like recommend that, definitely doing as much of that as possible, work experience, connecting with your local community, because a lot of people are like, oh, I struggle to get work experience. Local councils are always looking for people.
yeah.
uh, I'm always doing work with Lambeth Council, Southwark Council, you know.
It's so funny you said that because look at us, like both of our local council, we've both done work with them, me with my photography and
Mhm,
you with your like upcoming performances. I think
mhm,
it is about just putting yourself out there. Like an interview I'd done before, the person said that uni allowed them like the time to also work on their own projects, but just as fun. And because they had that time to create when it came to finally applying for jobs, they had like evidence like this is what I can do, so it helped them sort of stand out and not just be a person that just done a degree sort of thing. And I
mhm,
think like with a degree, as you said, is about also getting soft skills and
mm,
not just hard skills. So the event management that might even go into running a society, sort
mhm.
of like health and safety and health and well-being, getting people to engage and be a part of that is definitely something. that I see like the benefit of going through university, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
Are there any projects that you have participated in that you're particularly proud of at the moment?
I've participated in quite a lot of things I'm proud of. I know having my freelance gig with the council, like Lambeth, is just bursting with opportunities. It's kind of one of those boroughs in London that has like gets a lot of funding for new ideas or anything that community focused. I've been part of quite a lot of amazing things. We had a well-being event that I helped facilitate and take a lead on as well, and it was really, really successful. We literally couldn't get rid of people. More than double the attendees from the previous year, which was really fun. But I've done a load of different things. That also led to me being able to do content creation for like the organisations that were involved in that. Well, they've done things that have been funded by the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan. I'm really proud of being a part of things like that. But even just down to doing events with my friends, they have music events that have sold out, and it's like, wow, like we've sold out 3 times. And it's just been really nice to just kind of have these ideas and be like, okay, we're going to dare to do it. Yeah, just seeing the results of it. So I've just been proud of just my journey since leaving uni and just like taking the risks and trying new things. Performing at Lambeth County show, sorry, the festival. That was another highlight. I think there's like 20,000 people that come to that. Yeah, I'm just proud. I'm just happy just in the direction I'm going in. And
What would you say is like the typical day to day within like your roles? Obviously, you do quite a lot of different things, but maybe across the different roles, what's like a typical day for you?
so I'm like, I guess you could say I'm like the Gen Z that the millennials kind of like make fun of on TikTok. My day doesn't start at 9.
Yeah.
Usually, I will if I'm going to do like a hospitality event or like where I'm managing that kind of thing, it could start at 7. It could start really early and finish really late, or finish later on during the day. There's times where I have events mainly just in the evening. People finish at the office and it's my job to set up like an after event social for them, and we do the drinks and all of that kind of stuff. If I'm doing content creating, I might start editing, a pieces of content. Like I've got content I need to edit today for the following week, sorry. And it might just be a day of content creating and posting on social media, and then just having a meeting during the week with the rest of the social media team or the rest of the team in the organization, and then keeping them up to date, sharing progress about what it is I've done. Yeah, that's really kind of it. Yeah, do events or social media editing, really. And then if I'm not doing that, I'm creating and making music. So
Yeah, that's amazing. How would you say you like stay motivated as a freelancer? Obviously, like doing different things, maybe having a passion or like having your passion, being like more passionate towards one thing at a time, or
mm,
like being, and then maybe it's switching and then you focus on another passion. Like, how do you balance all of that?
I think it's really important to have good people around you. I have the most amazing friends. They always push me. There's times where I think you need to give yourself grace and understand that you're human, and it's okay sometimes to have those moments or those dry patches where you just don't want to do anything, or you just don't want to be creative, or you just feel really, really low. And that's okay. You're allowed to feel.
Mm,
And I think in the past, I was always like, oh my gosh, like I'm not grinding 24/7, 7 days a week. Like I'm a loser and I'm not catching up with my peers. But one, everybody is going through their own battles and their own journey. So don't compare yourself to anyone. And at the same time, it's okay, like I said, to not have it together all the time. And
mm,
I think, like I said, just giving myself the grace and surrounding myself with people who also can refuel me when I'm running on empty. Because
yeah.
yeah, that's gonna happen. There's gonna be times where I just don't want to do anything, and my friends gonna be like, "No, Esther, get your butt together. You do this." So I think it's really important to have, even if it's just one person who holds you accountable. Like me and my friends, like now we have like accountability sessions. So sometimes I'll be like, really want to do this today. Can you please make sure I do it? And my friend will badger me. So
Lol.
Yeah, if you don't have people like that, there's Facebook groups. Like, I'm literally part of a Facebook group where there's people who are like, yeah, I really want to start a group chat for people where we can just hold each other accountable. So I think,
Oh, that is so true. Like even me, there is this group I'm a part of for like Black women with ADHD, and they have like body doubling sessions, so you can like literally like log in on Zoom, get your work done, and like have someone else there with you. And it's just nice, like even when I'm like alone or in like my like dorm room at uni or something, just like having that person there to hold you accountable, even though you're not, it makes you feel like you're not alone. So you have to do the work, which is really nice.
mm,
Yeah.
so just go and find out, like, if you don't have that kind of structure in your life, there's so many ways you can actually just find it. There's really, I'm part of a group for people who want to travel, for example. I just went on holiday. We were a complete stranger because my friends are always so busy, or we just sometimes we just are doing our own thing, just not the right moment for us to go on holiday. And there's a group for everything on Facebook. So if you are currently searching for something, don't be limited by the people or the things around you. Go out there. There's
Mhm.
people are like-minded.
So how do you feel your current role empowers Black humanities or champions diversity?
In a number of ways. I think as a musician, as a creative, I'm always trying to push the genre. I'm always trying to push beyond the sound. Like, as a Black female artist, especially, it's so easy. We easily get lumped into R&B, which is,
Mm,
I think more Black people now more than ever are fighting to be heard and seen in other spaces that we are probably not usually welcomed in, or probably not as accommodated in. For example, Beyonce in country, you see a lot of people trying to do stuff in rock, and I think it's really beautiful to kind of explore music without those boundaries set in place. So I think that's one way I try and channel through my artistic form, creating a listening experience that transcends beyond R&B. What is it? I don't know what it is, but it's something,
yeah.
an amalgamation of all these different genres, and it can open a conversation. It can open the listener to maybe try listening to some indie rock, or maybe some like alternative rock, because they've listened to my sound. So that's how I do that artistically. Through work, I think it's just always advocating for diversity. We're planning an event, like, for example, for Pride. Let's try and work with people and caterers or venues that are pride friendly, or that are
Mm,
pride, you know what I mean? So it's not just being performative, it's actually making sure that we are supporting causes, we're supporting people and institutions that kind of embody what it is we're trying to represent.
mm.
Yeah, that's how I go about it in my work life, really.
Amazing. What would you say are like the key steps to getting into your field, whether that's someone that is an aspiring musician or an aspiring freelancer or wants to do like some of the work you're doing with the council? But how do you advise them to like start?
Just network. Honestly, a lot of the opportunities I had came to me just by being in the right spaces, talking to people, and selling myself. I got kind of into this space accidentally, the kind of youth work and the charity stuff and the council stuff. I had a performance and someone really, really liked one of my performances, and they were telling me like, oh, we really want you to come perform at one of our next events. And then I got to see what it was that they did, and I was really interested, and I asked them more about it, and it was just kind of a discussion here about, okay, this is what you do. I'd love to be a part of it. What are the roles you have available? I'd love to see how I can fit in. That's really how I managed to start doing content creating and events for them, was just by talking to them and actually seeing the vision and telling them about my skills and what it was that I felt I could do for them. So yeah, sometimes your network is your net worth. You really have to just talk to people, be in spaces. And I say to people, be audacious. Like, the worst you can hear is a no. Really put yourself out there, reach out to people on LinkedIn, reach out to brands, make sure that you are really pushing out the best of your achievements. If you've had an event that's been sponsored and attended to by the Mayor of London, write that on your CV. Write that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, don't be humble, because that's not the time to be. You really have to make sure that you're just screaming your achievements and letting people see how amazing the work you do is.
That is so true. I literally saw it was like a TikTok, and I was like mentioning this to people recently, where this lady, she studied Arabic for 4 years and she like worked in the military. And there was an opportunity where she would like get to translate or something. And then people like asked her, we need people that like know Arabic, da 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 da. Then she was like, oh yeah, I know a little bit, like sort of downplaying that she studied it for 4 years. And then this like guy comes and then it's the same question, and then he gets the role, but he's only like done like a beginner to Arabic session thing for 2 weeks compared to the lady that done it for 4 years. And it's funny because he like sold himself even though he's
Mhm.
not like well versed in Arabic at all, and he got that opportunity and she didn't. And then she was really emphasizing, like, to the people she was sharing the story with, like, never be humble because being humble costs you. I mean, like, humble in the sense of downplaying your actual achievements. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that's definitely solid advice that you've brought to the table there.
Yeah, I think there is just to reiterate, I think being humble is a superpower in itself, but
Yeah.
it's about knowing when to be.
What other jobs would you say are available to liberal arts graduates in particular?
I was just talking to my friend today actually about how there's so many pathways I could have gone in with it, if you're into kind of community work, that kind of stuff, because there's a lot of political knowledge that's needed, well, not needed, but that is very useful for kind of those fields. So civil engineer,
Mm,
servant, be an MP. You could decide, you know what, I want to go into law and do your bar exam and study to actually like be a solicitor or a lawyer, because a lot of liberal arts is based around philosophy and that's very fundamental to law. There's a lot of different things: copywriting, marketing officer, social worker. There's a lot. It really depends what you majored in as well. There's a lot of doors you can go in.
that's one thing I've really noticed about degrees in general. They tend to be like very transferable,
Hmm.
in the sense that maybe you can do like an additional course if your degree doesn't directly like correlate to where you decided you want to go to, or even just like the skills, like with a degree, obviously, is like writing skills, analysis, critical thinking, and these can all be applied to like several job roles. So, are there any resources or books or like films that you'd recommend to people, especially like in regards to like the field you're in, or how to be a singer, I don't know, or how to be a freelancer, or how
Uh,
to be an entrepreneur, even?
well, part of my degree, one of the modules we had to do in third year, it was actually, they made us like, well, they didn't make us, but they said we should watch Black Mirror, and I felt like that
Oh, I
was
love that series.
good. Yeah. So anything that kind of has a political message, I think The Hunger Games is really good and stuff like that. I've heard Game of Thrones. I still haven't gone into that yet, but I've heard that's really good. Dystopian novels, dystopian films are quite good for kind of seeing how politics really is, but without that kind of intensity of this.
Yeah, like not obvious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think 19, is it 1941? Is it nine?
What,
It's by
1984?
1984.
Yeah.
Sorry. You can tell I didn't read it. uh, that was one of the things that I should have read during my degree. I've heard like it's literally a staple for politics. Anyone who's doing politics in uni, it's like they will eventually just have to come across that. Talks about Marxism and all of that kind of stuff. I don't know about any things that can help you get a job in terms of books and films. Just making sure that you are knowledgeable about things. So I watch loads of videos on marketing. I watch loads of videos on content creating. I watch things that are just really, really interesting and could actually help me in my day to day. You would be surprised like how to set up an event, what's the checklist that you need. Also just things that really help you become a better person. Right now I'm reading 48 Laws of Power. That kind of stuff is really, really good, especially when you're dealing with all kinds of people. You become a much more interesting person to be around.
Yeah.
Talk to. Those kind of things are really good for just kind of developing yourself. Self-development books, I think, are really good. Just investing in your mind. That's so important because,
Mm,
oh, let's just get a job, da 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 da. But you need to be mentally sane or in a mentally good place to be able to perform to the
mm.
abilities. So don't neglect that part of yourself as well. So that's what I would recommend.
Yeah, that's definitely something that's true. I feel like with academia, people do neglect their mental well-being to like prioritize other things, whether that's their schoolwork or social life. Yeah, that is definitely something, especially because like after studying, a lot of people go through burnout. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
like a whole thing that people are talking about now. So I think, yeah, developing your mind. Also, one thing I would really recommend, even just trying to reduce your screen time, I think
Mm.
keep people sane. To conclude, are there any personal advice that you can give to people just in general?
The advice right now that I'm just giving everyone that I know, like my friends, just take all the risks now. I see a lot of people in like older generations and they're only starting to take risks and they look back and they go, I wish I would have done this 20 years ago.
Mm,
Don't be afraid to fail now. If you fail now, you can still rebuild yourself and you can still have the energy, time, and kind of motivation to do that at a younger age. You know, when you start getting older, one, your body is just, it's a natural process of aging. You're not going to have the same energy you had when you were 20. It's just how it is. And so don't be afraid to take risks now. Do that idea that you think is so, oh, I'm not sure if I should do it now or if I should wait until I'm in a financially good position in the next 10 years. Like, just do it now. Like, what's
yeah,
happening? You can fail and then you just try again. I just think be audacious, be kind of almost have the audacity to just do things, do it unapologetically, you know, go up to that person in that room and tell them about yourself because you never know, that could be the person who changes your life, or it could be the next business,
yeah,
or that could be the person who can help you get your dream job, you know. I think that's really the advice I would say, is just do it and be comfortable with failing, be comfortable with being uncomfortable,
yeah.
because if you're uncomfortable for a short amount of time, eventually you build habits that make you more comfortable, and that uncomfortable feeling is no longer uncomfortable, it's just the norm. So
Mm,
comfortable with being uncomfortable, just go out there and achieve greatness.
yeah. Well, thank you, Esther, for being a part of the Black Humanities podcast and your sound advice.
Thank you, Rhoda.
You're welcome.
And don't forget to stream La Vida Loca by
Oh,
Esther.
yeah, that's one thing I did ask. I meant to ask, is there anything you want to promote? Any platforms we should follow you on in general?
Yeah, like I have a song called La Vida Loca. It's gonna be the song of the summer. I said it
It's a
here.
banger.
So you
Stream
guys,
it.
y'all better jump on this before I get too famous for y'all. No.
Low.
But on a serious note, thank you so much, Rhoda, for having me. I've really, really enjoyed this. So thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.